Hello friends, today we'll be talking about use of assistive technology for people with disabilities. Introduction. India is home to a large population of people with disabilities. The ratio of disability is high due to contributing factors such as extreme poverty, low sanitation, low nutrition, inadequate access to healthcare, and low literacy. Due to these factors, almost three-quarters of India's disabled live in rural areas. This compounds the problem. People with disabilities living in rural areas lack access to trained caregivers and to agencies that can train and help them overcome their disabilities to become productive members of their families. Assistive technologies (AT) is still a novelty even within the urban disabled. The few technologies that are available are not easily affordable, nor are they widely sold and supported. A few technologies are actively disseminated by the respective nodal organizations. For example, screen reading software by National Association for the Blind and Hearing Aids by Ali Yawar Jung Institute for Hearing Handicapped. These are mostly offered at discounted rates to make them affordable. People need affordable, local, usable, and accessible technology solutions that can overcome some of the challenges listed above. However, there are almost no organized sector players in this field, severely restricting the large-scale adoption of AT. There are a few educational institutions like IITs that have been developing next generation AT that could increase and access the productivity of a large section of this population. However, many of these have remained in the labs instead of reaching the intended audience in volume. Assistive technology is technology used by individuals with disabilities in order to perform functions that might otherwise be difficult or impossible. Assistive technology can include mobility devices such as walkers and wheelchairs, as well as hardware, software, and peripherals that assist people with disabilities in accessing computers or other information technologies. A formal legal definition of assistive technology was first published in the Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disabilities Act of 1988, the TECH Act. This act was amended in 1994. In 1998, it was repealed and replaced with the Assistive Technology Act of 1998. It's also known as AT Act. Throughout this history, the original definition of assistive technology remained consistent. The Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disabilities Act of 1988 and the Assistive Technology Act of 1998 define an assistive technology device as any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. This policy definition is extremely broad and can be interpreted to cover a very large range of products such as Velcro and microwave ovens that are useful to people with disabilities but that are not specifically designed or adapted to assist. Technology is redefining what is possible for people with a wide range of cognitive, print, and physical disabilities. Be it in the home, classroom, workplace, and community, assistive technology is enabling individuals with disabilities to be more independent, self-confident, productive, and better included in everyday life, education, employment, and living. Assistive technologies can be subdivided to distinguish many kinds of products. For example, personal assistive devices such as canes, scooters, hearing aids, and magnifying glasses act essentially as extensions of a person's physical capabilities. They often move with the person from one place to another. Adaptive assistive devices make an inaccessible mainstream or general use device usable by a person with a disability, although usually at additional cost. One example is the computer screen reader, which allows people with low vision to hear what is shown on a computer screen, for example, text documents. For children, assistive devices include adapted or specially designed toys that not only are entertaining and usable but that also make a contribution to their physical and emotional development. Continued implementation of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act has focused attention on a range of educational assistive technologies for children with learning and other disabilities. Some of these technologies may also benefit adults with learning or cognitive limitations, increasing their ability to live independently, work, and otherwise participate more fully in community life. Examples of cognitive assistive technologies include visual or auditory prompting devices that provide simple cues to help people perform a task. Example, prepare food or remember things that they need to do. Example, take medications. Other examples include alarm devices that help warn caregivers that someone with dementia or some other cognitive condition may be in danger. Tracking devices that use global positioning system technology GPS to determine the location of an individual and simplified versions of email. Classification of impairment, disability and handicap ICIDH WHO 1980 evolved into the current ICF. The context in which a person lives was afforded greater importance in defining adaptation to disability. This context is composed of a personal and an environmental factors domain. The role of ATs falls into the latter ICF category under products and technology. AT is one of many environmental factors that affect the daily functioning of persons with disabilities, particularly their performance of activities and pursuit of vocational, social, and community interests. Environmental factors encompass supports from other persons and service animals, including the socio-cultural environment of the person with a disability. Accommodations to the built physical architectural space and the characteristics of the services available to persons with disabilities, as well as access to healthcare and rehabilitation, AT and personal assistance. Although AT is located in the environmental factors domain of the ICF, its overall value is ultimately determined by its impact on daily activities and participation in community life. For individuals with physical, sensory, or cognitive disabilities, ATs can facilitate independence in accomplishing activities, that is, the ability or capacity to execute tasks or actions such as reading, writing, walking, moving, dressing, and eating. ATs enhance participation by providing the means to get around independently. Example, wheelchairs, adapted vehicles, and ramps. Care for oneself, example, build up handles on eating utensils and interact with others. Example, voice control computer input, telephone dialing devices. By enabling a person to perform desired tasks, ATs offer the potential to provide a sense of autonomy as well as reconnection to the community. By accommodating a person's weakness and supporting his or her strengths, ATs can reduce psychosocial as well as physical stress, thus leading to an enhanced subjective quality of life and of AT as high-tech gadgets or products with complex engineering. However, simple devices such as magnifying lenses, index cards, and timers alarm clocks can promote independence and improve the individual's quality of life. Telecommunications technology, broadly defined as those technologies requiring or supporting interaction with a person or information source, are also important resources for individuals with disabilities. They include telephones, pagers, automatic teller machines, kiosks, and the internet. Environmental facilitators and barriers and the role of ATs. Predispositions to the technology use and actual use depend on many factors, and these have been organized into a model. The settings in which the person uses a device or technology tend to either support or discourage use. These extend beyond physical access to social and economic support. Attitudinal and cultural factors are environmental influences that comprise a key component of a technology user's perspective of AT. Support use in general, and degree of confidence and trust in professionals and their recommendations. Because AT is intended to facilitate health and psychosocial functioning. Lack of resources to purchase AT constitutes an environmental barrier. Scarcity of trained personnel to assist in choosing and obtaining AT also represents an obstacle within the social environment, as do policies that set a low priority on resource allocation for AT. The failure of a service provider to require a comprehensive assessment of consumer needs, priorities, and AT preferences at the beginning of the AT and support selection process is also significant. Institutions, including special institutions generally, students with special needs come with a number of questions. For example, what sort of technological tools can help them in getting education like their counterparts? Such questions vary from person to person depending upon his her needs. Hence, it becomes necessary on one part of teachers and manufacturers to know the specific needs of these people and the concepts like assistive technology, universal design, and accessibility. It is very difficult to classify or label the varying degrees of visual acuity. Most of the students with visual impairments need some type of technologies for effective learning while pursuing their studies. The students who are visually impaired but have some useful vision mostly rely on large print materials, specialized magnification lenses, or on the electronic enlargement technologies for better accessibility. The people with no vision who traditionally had to depend on the tape recordings or on braille pen now have many options of other devices and technologies which make them independent. For example, descriptive video services. This technology provides a detailed verbal description of visual elements. These services are useful in helping blind or low vision students to use educational video programs efficiently. Another significant development in the field of computer technology is the innovation of synthetic and digital speech. These are the output technologies which assist the students with communication disorders and visual impairments. These text to speech applications are also known as screen readers. With the use of these screen readers, visually impaired students can read the text found on the screen aloud. The screen reading technologies also facilitate to read the text repeatedly and in reviewing or editing the written text. Another useful computer based on technology in this regard is optical character recognition. It helps in scanning and reading the text aloud. Students with visual impairments can have access to all types of print materials by the use of this scanning technology, because they can scan the materials and read the text with the help of screen reading technologies. Individually, now this software is available with most computers and scanners. The only drawback of this technology is that it cannot read handwritten materials accurately. At the same time, advances in computer technologies have made Braille more useful. A number of software applications have been developed which combine Braille with computer technology. For example, in Braille note takers, there is a facility to store Braille characters and read text aloud. These technologies have been found useful to assist students with visual impairments in their studies. Though Braille displays have already been developed, those technologies are still not widely used because of high cost and lack of awareness among the users. Computer screen magnification. In most of the computers available today, magnification of the screen is possible by the use of special software. The user can select a portion of the screen and then enlarge that section up to 16 times of the original. This magnification technology helps the low vision students to use the screen easily. With the magnification, they can see the particular portion of the screen better and larger than before. This facility gives them the opportunity to use the computer and other such technologies according to materials and technology which are useful to instruct the visually impaired students. Braille scanning software (OBR), optical braille recognition. Optical braille recognition (OBR) is a Windows software program that allows to read single and double-sided braille documents on a standard A4 scanner. It scans the braille document, analyzes the dot pattern, and translate it into normal text that it presents on the computer screen. Audio devices. Along with braille materials and computers, visually impaired persons prefer to use audio materials in their studies. They use various cassette players and other recording machines for different purposes: to record the lectures, books, and study materials, and to submit their assignments in audio formats. Nowadays, taking books are available in different formats which can be listened with some sophisticated audio devices. Braille translators and displays. Braille display is a tactile device which consisting of a row of special soft cells. It is a device typically attachable to a computer keyboard which allows a blind person to read the contents of a display one text line at a time in the form of line of Braille characters. When used in conjunction with a Braille keyboard, the Braille displays makes it possible for a person to operate a computer and read the display, send and receive email, and browse the web. A refreshable Braille display or Braille terminal is an electromechanical device for displaying Braille characters, usually by means of raising dots through holes in a flat surface. Blind computer users who cannot use a normal computer monitor use it to read text output. The blind user may switch between two systems or use both at the same time depending on circumstances. Braille embosser. A Braille embosser is a printer, necessarily an impact printer that renders text as Braille. Utilizing special translation software, a print document can be embossed with relative ease, making Braille production much more efficient and cost effective. Today, thousands of books and magazines of different languages of the world are embossed in Braille and are made available for the blind readers in a cheaper rate. So, the revolution in the Braille printing society not only fulfilled the desires of the blind learners but also enabled them to get the knowledge of the whole world. Braille note takers. Braille note takers are small assistive devices specially designed for the blind students. These devices are primarily used to take notes in Braille. The note takers have the same 6 keys as found on a traditional Braille writer. However, in most of the note takers, the users can review what they have already written. These devices have translating software which translates the Braille into normal text. The stored documents can be accessed with the use of word processors or by the screen reader software. To get a hard copy of those documents, the students can connect the note takers with the printers for text output. Similarly, Braille displays and Braille printers can be attached with note takers to get Braille output. Devices like the Braille note takers that combine Braille with computer technology have made Braille much more useful and easily accessible. Be careful in the selection of appropriate tools and should encourage using such products and methods that allow the students to do their work efficiently. While designing the curriculum, they should take care of the special needs and should think about various assistive devices which can help them to pursue the courses and programs smoothly. The important thing is to let the disabled learners know that they are welcome. No one can anticipate everyone's needs, but one can let them know that she is willing and prepared to work with such people for accommodating them to the best of their ability. It may take them time to learn and adapt the new programs and some of the special devices, but we need to start somewhere. So let people know that the doors of the technology are open to everyone in the community. Responsible bodies should not wait until a disabled person applies to do a course or tries to use a service. Rather, they should think about what reasonable adjustments they could make beforehand. They should anticipate the requirements of disabled students and should make the necessary adjustments for giving them better accessibility. Interactive radio counseling and teleconferencing. Today, emergence of satellite technologies has broadened the scope of education by making it more accessible. Satellites have been used in various sectors like defense, meteorology, research, and science. India has launched a special satellite for educational purposes. Now, the most educational situations are taking advantage of it. Satellite technology can be used at its best to educate the students with special needs. Many special devices have been manufactured to serve the needs of such groups based on satellite technology. Through teleconferencing or video conferencing, many of the above mentioned needs can be fulfilled. For example, if someone assistive tools such as the pictures, graphics, various sounds, sign languages, interpretations, and PowerPoint presentations, along with the lectures, can be used, and these will be of more use. Similarly, radio can be used successfully in teaching learning process. Through interactive radio programs, these students can be given special counseling and necessary information time to time. Provision of study materials. People with reduced sight or with low vision often find the conventional print materials indistinct, dim, and very difficult to read. Central damage to the retina prevents some students from seeing small print clearly and reduces their ability to move their eyes in the ways needed for reading. Text can be made more legible for these readers by the use of large print materials. Therefore, attention should be paid on the following: e-text materials which are friendly to screen reading, software, and speech synth RS for people with total visual impairments. E-text should be supplemented with audio visuals wherever necessary with the help of multimedia technologies. Use of internet and web accessibility. In this age of technology, there is no need to going out to collect study materials or attend a conventional educational institution for getting quality education. This could happen because of the internet and World Wide Web or the web accessibility. Along with this, internet facility has minimized the limitations of education. To a large extent, it helps to make education more accessible for all, including the people with vision impairments continue to struggle to gain education in contemporary areas relevant to the marketplace and their disability. Technological progress has much to contribute to this state of affairs. With highly inaccessible computerization of many online educational courses, educational institutions have been slow to ensure accessibility of learning, materials, and environments for these people. Studies show that assistive technologies significantly help disabled students in general and visual impaired in particular to excel in inclusive teaching and learning. These technologies comprise a number of products which include a wide variety of software applications, input devices, and hardware which allow visually impaired students to perform difficult tasks independently. But ultimately, the educational institutions, colleges, or universities must provide facilities to all students based on the individual needs in support of their willingness to learn. Inadequate teacher training, lack of awareness, infrastructural deficiency, and high cost are some of the major problems in the use of technology. But with willingness, appropriate effort, and positive outlook, these shortcomings can be overcome. All teachers need training for using assistive technologies and special products effectively to address the needs of the students with various disabilities, including visually impaired. Thus, it is important to become familiar with the issues surrounding the use of technologies for all the individuals who are involved in policy decisions. Teacher training and funding of educational technologies. By working together, parents, teachers, administrators, and students with disabilities and their non disabled friends can help to create technology friendly environments in which all students have opportunities to learn.